Ever wonder what people truly value in a relationship? Like, is it all about love
Yeah.
or financial security? Or is it something else entirely?
Hmm.
You know, today we're going to take a deep dive into some observations about modern relationships.
Interesting.
Yeah, welcome back.
It's a really profound question.
Yeah.
It gets to the core of what we look for in a partner and how much of that is shaped by cultural norms or individual values.
Right, and I love to compare cultures.
Of course.
So that's what we're going to look at today.
Okay.
Kind of the contrast between, let's say, Western and more traditional values when it comes to expectations in a relationship.
Yeah, that cross-cultural lens is always fascinating. It can
Yeah.
expose assumptions we might not even realize we have.
Exactly. And one of the first things that kind of jumped out at me was this whole engagement ring thing.
Oh,
We've all heard those stories about proposals and huge price tags, right?
sure.
But imagine hearing about a woman who expects a $200,000 engagement ring.
Wow. That's a serious chunk of change. It really makes you think about what that ring represents in that culture.
Right. And then on the flip side, you have women from more traditional cultures who are totally fine with a simple $8 ring.
Yeah,
They're like, the ring is just a symbol. It's about the commitment.
exactly.
It's about the love and the future we're building together.
It really speaks to a different set of priorities,
Yeah.
valuing practicality and shared goals over a big show.
Totally. And it gets even more interesting when you look at the reasons behind these different perspectives.
Uh-huh.
For some, that $200,000 ring might be about financial security.
Right. A guarantee that their partner can provide for them. It's
Exactly.
like an investment in their future, a
Yeah.
tangible symbol of their commitment.
Whereas for others, it's like, why would you spend that much on a ring?
Yeah.
Let's put that money into property.
Right.
Let's build a business together. Let's prioritize long-term financial well-being as a couple.
It highlights how different cultures think about gift giving. Like in one culture, a big gesture means commitment, while in another, it's the thought itself.
Right. And this difference in values, it goes beyond just engagement rings.
Okay.
It also comes up in how some women approach the whole, splitting the finances thing in a relationship.
Hmm.
You hear stories about women who expect a huge weekly allowance from their partners,
Really?
like thousands of dollars.
It makes you wonder, is giving that much money really love and care, or does it become a form of control, or even like a transaction? It's complicated.
Yeah, it really makes you think about what a healthy balance looks like in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just about the money.
Right.
It's about what each person contributes.
Uh-huh.
Emotional support, shared values,
Yes.
building a life together.
A true partnership goes beyond finances.
Right.
It's about respecting each other, having common goals, and wanting to help each other grow.
Okay, so we've got these really different views on money and relationships.
Mm.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about chores. Imagine a woman who gives her partner a detailed list of what she expects.
Oh, wow.
Paying all the bills, doing most of the housework,
Okay.
planning the dates, the vacations, everything.
Wow, so she wants a partner who's like a provider, a housekeeper, a social director, all in one. I wonder if that really leads to an equal partnership.
And the reactions to this are wild.
What do they say?
People are like, why would any man stay in a relationship like that?
Wow.
It shows that more and more people want a relationship where both people contribute.
Right.
It's about giving back. In a healthy partnership, both people should feel valued and supported. It's not just one person giving all the time. It's teamwork,
Right.
contributing equally, even if it's in different ways. And here's what struck me.
What's that?
While some women are very upfront about what they expect, they don't always say what they bring to the relationship.
You're right. That's a big imbalance, not just in what they do, but also in communication. It's so important for both partners to talk about their needs, expectations, and what they're willing to do to make sure they're on the same page.
It's like they're saying, this is what I expect from you,
Yeah,
but they don't say, this is what I bring to us.
exactly. It's crucial to have open and honest discussions about what makes a good and fair partnership
Totally.
for both people.
So we've seen some pretty different views on money and responsibilities. And it all comes back to this idea of balance and give and take.
Yes,
But before we dive deeper into that,
sure.
let's pause here for a moment.
Okay.
If you're finding this interesting,
Uh-huh.
be sure to subscribe for more deep dives. We'll be back in a flash to unpack even more about modern relationships.
It's crazy how these little differences in what people expect can tell you so much about their values and how they see relationship.
Right. It's like you start with something simple, like an engagement ring. And suddenly you're talking about beliefs, about money and commitment, and what it means to be a good partner.
It makes you question your own assumptions.
Yeah.
Like you might not even realize how much your culture or your own experiences affect what you expect in a relationship.
Totally. Like when you hear about this woman giving her partner this huge list of demands,
Yeah.
it's easy to judge.
Yeah.
But maybe there's more to it.
Right.
Maybe she's coming from a place of insecurity
Right.
or past relationships that made her think this is how it should be.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's so important to try to understand where the other person is coming from.
Right.
It's not about saying what they're doing is right or wrong. It's about trying to see their perspective.
And realizing that there's no one right way to have a relationship.
Exactly. What works for one couple might be totally different for another.
And all that variety.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes relationships so interesting.
Right. We all have our own baggage and our own ways of seeing things, and the trick is finding someone who gets you. Someone who complements your strengths and understands your weaknesses and who wants to work with you to make things work.
And a big part of that is communication, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Being honest about what you need and what you expect and what you're willing to give.
Communication is the key to any good relationship.
Yeah.
It's about being open about your needs and really listening to your partner and finding a middle ground that works for both of you.
And it's not just about the big stuff like money or chores.
Right.
It's also about the little things.
The everyday stuff.
The little things that show you care.
Yeah.
Making an effort. Being there for each other emotionally.
It's those small gestures that really build a connection over time.
Yeah.
It's about feeling seen and understood by your partner.
So we've talked about these different expectations.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it actually look like to have a good and balanced relationship today? Like, where do we even start?
I think the first step is to look at yourself.
Okay.
To really think about your values and what you need and what you expect. Like, what are your deal breakers? What are you willing to compromise on? And what do you bring to the table?
It's about knowing yourself before you even start dating.
Exactly. Once you understand yourself better, you can look for a partner who shares your values and who fits well with you.
And being open to the idea that a good relationship might not look like what we see in movies or on TV.
Right. It's about breaking free from those stereotypes and creating something that's real for you and your partner.
And maybe that means questioning some of those old-fashioned gender roles.
Yeah. It's about having honest conversations about how to split things up fairly,
Right.
regardless of what society says.
But it's not just about finding the right person.
Uh-huh.
It's also about building the right kind of relationship.
Yeah, one that's built on respect and honesty and a shared vision for the future.
And being willing to adapt as you both grow and change.
Exactly. Relationships are always evolving, and the key is to be open to that change.
Right.
To communicate and support each other's growth.
It's realizing that love isn't a finish line. It's a journey.
A journey of discovery about yourself and your partner.
Yeah.
And that journey can be amazing if you go into it with an open mind and a willingness to learn and grow together.
So we've talked about being self-aware and communicating openly and challenging old ideas.
Right.
What else is important for a balanced and happy relationship?
I think emotional intelligence is crucial.
Okay.
It's about understanding your own emotions and your partner's emotions and being able to handle them in a healthy way.
Like knowing how to communicate well, how to resolve conflicts respectfully, and how to support each other.
Exactly. And it also means being able to see things from your partner's point of view,
Yeah.
even if you don't agree.
It's about remembering that you're on the same team,
Right.
working together.
But being willing to compromise.
Yeah.
We're all different.
Yeah.
And there will be times when you need to meet in the middle and find a solution that works for both of you.
It's about finding that balance where both people feel heard and respected.
Exactly.
And sometimes that means putting your ego aside and focusing on what's best for the relationship.
It's about understanding that a true partnership is about giving and taking.
Yeah.
And that sometimes putting your partner's needs first can actually make your bond stronger.
And it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
Relationships take work
They do.
and effort and a willingness to keep learning and growing together.
But the rewards are amazing.
Yeah.
When you find someone you truly connect with, who supports you and challenges you and makes you want to be your best self, it's the best feeling.
And it's a journey.
Right.
You have your ups and downs.
Yeah.
You face challenges together.
Yeah.
You celebrate the good time.
It's about appreciating those moments of connection.
Yeah.
The things you do together that create memories and strengthen your bond.
It's about building a love that's real and strong.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Right.
I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. What are you doing today to nurture your relationships?
That's a good question.
Whether it's with a partner, a family member, or a close friend.
It is. How can we show up for the people we care about?
Yeah.
How can we make those connections stronger and more meaningful?
And we'll be right back to talk more about modern relationships and what it takes to build a love that lasts.
We've talked about a lot in this deep dive, like money expectations, communication, being emotionally smart. But it all comes back to one question. What really makes a relationship work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's something that people have been trying to figure out forever, and there's no easy answer, no magic formula for happiness.
Yeah,
But I think we can learn something from looking at relationships that do succeed.
right. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, trying to find the things that make a relationship last.
And one of those pieces, as we've been talking about, is give and take.
Yeah. It's about giving and receiving in a way that feels good for both people. It's knowing that each person has needs and wants and things they bring to the table. And when all those things work together, the relationship thrives.
Like a dance, where both partners are moving together smoothly.
Exactly. And to keep that dance going, you need communication.
Right.
You need to be willing to adapt as things change, and you need to be committed to making it work.
And it's not always easy to keep that balance, is it?
No, it's not. Life happens, things change, and we change as people.
And the secret to making a relationship last is being okay with that change.
Yeah.
Talking things through and supporting each other's growth.
Absolutely.
It's realizing that love is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey you take together, discovering new things about yourselves and each other.
And that journey can be amazing if you're open to it,
Yeah.
if you're willing to learn and grow as a couple.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on relationships, what's the main thing you want people to remember?
I think the most important thing is to realize that there's no one right way to be in a relationship. What works for one couple might not work for another, and that's okay. The beauty is in finding what works for you and your partner and building something that's unique to you.
I love that. And one last thought for our listeners. Think about one part of your relationship where maybe you're taking more than you're giving.
Interesting. Are we pulling our weight?
Yeah.
Are we listening to our partner and being clear about our own needs?
It's about taking responsibility for our part in the relationship, making sure it's balanced and fulfilling for both of us.
And that's it for today's deep dive. If you enjoyed this conversation about modern relationships, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives on all sorts of interesting topics. We'll see you next time.